I love to go prospecting in all the mountain streams. And as I go, I love to sing, my gold pen in my hand. Go for me, go for Ma, go for me, go for Grandpa, ha 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 ha, go for me, go for Ma, my gold pen in my hand.
Hey everybody, Grandpa here. You know, I've had a lot of requests from a lot of my subscribers and some of my friends and some people on Facebook that I'm in contact with, and everybody's been asking me, have I done anything about creating a fluid bed? And my answer to all of you out there is, yeah, I have. I've had one at home for probably 4 or 5 months, and before I took my trip up here, I'm up in North Georgia on vacation again. It's the middle of April, and I figured before I'd come up here, I'd make a couple adaptations to what I had created, and I think I've perfected what was a good piece of equipment already. So I'm going to go and start explaining it to you. Mindy, why don't you just give a quick look over and show everybody. Before we get started, though, I need to touch on one thing. I realize I look pretty old school prospector, okay? This was my get-up for the cruise I was on last Halloween with the grandkids. I went as an old prospector, and if we're going to talk about the latest grandpa technology for fluid beds, I need to update a little bit. So if you just excuse me a second, we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to go with what you're all used to. I look good in anything, but this helps a little bit. Okay, now, Mindy's going to take a look. This is the fluid bed. And I've got my 12,000 gallon per hour, 1,200 gallon per hour tsunami pump. And I've got a bottle here, got a funnel, you'll see some tubing, a bucket, this is a cooler. Now all this material, virtually all this material, I got, once again, from people's garbage. I've had to buy a few pieces of plumbing parts. The tsunami I've had for a number of years. But I'm going to show you what the principles are to making a simple fluid bed. You don't need to spend $300. I've tested everything I have here, all the units I have here, plus what I have at home. And with my little tweaks and the special little grandpa items that I've added to the fluid bed system, if you use the basic principles plus my tweaks, I guarantee you're going to have 99.5% recovery, because I catch the finest finest Georgia gold with this device, and it's just wonderful the way it works. Okay, what I've got here, I've got, in this particular instance, it's a mouthwash bottle, okay? Now, my concept of this is, I hook this up to my pump. This end goes to my pump. And I'm going to show you what's key about this pipe. Okay, I've got some holes cut through here, so when I turn on my pump, the water is going to be bubbling in here. Okay? Now I'm going to show you something, a couple different things you're going to need to know. First, when you do your holes in your plastic bottle, I don't cut them. I found that the aluminum pipes that people use for their pool cleaning equipment is just the right size for my 1-inch PVC. So you heat that aluminum pipe up and you push it through the plastic and it will melt. And when you melt your plastic, it leaves a little edge that's even stronger than the original plastic, kind of like a scar on a wound. Okay, so that's it for that for now. Now, the way I cut my pipe, because we want the water to bubble in here, so we're making that material that we're putting in our fluid bed that quicksand consistency. Now, I'm going to turn this so hopefully Mindy can take a look at it. I've got these holes strategically placed. In the middle, you'll see 4 in a diamond pattern. Those are designed to shoot directly down into the bottle cap on the bottom, okay? Along the sides, I've got some, and these are designed to shoot out at the side. They will come out and shoot toward the sides of the bottle and keep this just churning in here. You'll see what I mean when I fire up the other one. And then what you want to do, you want to put this PVC pipe through your bottle. Always mark your PVC pipe with a top, okay? And you put that in so that your line is on top. That means your holes are going to be shooting directly down into the bottle, all right? And then, after you run your material to clean out, you hold this over a pan, and all you do is take off the cap. And everything that you've built up in here will drop right into your pan. Easy clean out. Okay? Now, one other feature I have to this, which is probably the most key to the whole concept of the fluid bed. When people have made fluid beds that I've seen online in the past, they spoon into the top of the water. Now that works great if your material is already damp or wet. But if it's dry, when you hit the top of that water, even if you're running your clear dry or your dish soap, you're going to have a certain amount of viscosity on the top of your water just from the force. And you want that heavy material to drop immediately. So, I thought I'd come up with one better. So what I do, on the top of the bottle here, or the bottom of the bottle, I have a hole cut. And in that hole, I put this device. This is a funnel. You can buy 3 of them at Harbor Freight for 99 cents when they're on sale. Put a piece of tubing in here, and this piece of tubing goes down, and you will see that the tubing actually drops. When you put material in the top here, it actually drops below the top of the pipe, so that the churning action actually draws your material down under the pipe immediately, and then it can start the boiling process. Okay. Now, just let me get around here quick. I'm going to show you a little bit of basics here. Now, this is what I'm working with. I've used this one. I've also used the other one. Here's my device here. You can see this unit. It's very similar to what I have. You can see the clean out on the bottom. Okay, I've got a little bit different setup on my funnel. That drops down below the pipe. I've got the holes drilled in here just like I did on the other one, so that the pressure and all the water action will push it right to the bottle cap. Now I've got a bucket here, which I'll pick it up a little bit to show you. Once again, I've taken that pipe and I've burned little grooves in the side of the bucket here. And I've got some holes I melted down farther in the bucket so that the material will drain out, the water can run out. And I'll show you what I've got set up here. Here's my Tsunami pump. It's attached to a little bit of, all my plumbing is 1-inch pipe. Now, I was going to go with a valve that would turn the amount of volume down, but a valve was going to cost me $5.68 at Lowe's. Okay, you can't buy this type of stuff at Walmart. And I didn't have a valve because people don't throw that stuff in the garbage. But when I looked at the inside of that valve, it was going to give me a hole that was 3/4 of an inch in diameter anyway, so I just went with a piece of 3/4 inch diameter pipe in here instead. And I also have an adaptation where I can drop to a 1/2 inch piece of pipe if I need to drop the volume a little more because I've got too much turbulence going on in my water. Now I'm going to hook this up. The way this works, you can see this simply turns in to my pipe right there. I don't glue anything because, once again, like I've said in the past, we're not dealing with pressure with this type of a pump. We're dealing with volume. So I don't have any seal fittings here. The pressure is not going to blow, and if it does, oh well, that's just another grandpa moment on video. But I've got the Tsunami there. This is a little added feature I put here, and you'll see in a moment how well that works. Now let me just start this thing up once. I've got just got to get my little connections here, because if you don't get them right, Grandpa lights up like a Christmas tree, and everybody in the family gets a big kick out of it. Okay, there we turn her on. There. Now Mindy I just have to get my top to the top. I've got my bottle set up. You always make sure you have yourself a little level. This one's 99 cents at Harbor Freight. Don't want to give them too much advertising, but they're almost as good as getting it out of the garbage. They're so cheap. So now what we've got here, I'm going to show you. In the bucket, I've got some material that I've got from Christen's Gold Mine in Dahlonega, Georgia. And I get a 5-gallon bag. Last time I got some was like $15. And you always get your money's worth out of Christen's. Now I'm going to show you how this works. This is a little bit of a unique feature. You will see the water churning in the funnel, okay? That's reminiscent of my days when I used to go to the dentist. This is the little spit bowl you've got. So when you spit the stuff out of your mouth, all the teeth parts and chunks, it goes in the bowl and it washes down. So here's where we're dumping into the fluid bed, and you'll see how the water keeps feeding. And you can feed these relatively fast because we're getting that material, once again, way below the pipe down in the fluid bed. And Mindy's I'm just gonna keep shoveling it, and Mindy's gonna let you see how it's bubbling out. All the light material is bubbling out of the fluid bed. And you can keep going. I can put this whole bucket in here. The only thing that limits the amount of material you can put into the fluid bed is how much you can catch in your bucket. I'm dropping it into this first bucket to keep the material from being sucked through the Tsunami pump, because they're $35 and nobody throw those in the garbage. So I really try to watch how much junk gets in my pumps. If you're having trouble with a lot of stuff getting in your pump, you can wrap them up with this. This is something I've been using for years. This is the mosquito net. You can get it at Walmart for, I think they're maybe $1.50. But that wraps around the Tsunami, a zip tie, and it keeps out real fine particles. That works real good. Okay, now I'm going to put a couple more in here. And you can see how the material is dropping down. With that water feeding it to the bottom, it really does a nice job of getting it down there rather than dropping it in on top of the water and run the risk of it boiling off the top. And the more you put in here, the more it'll fill up, the more it'll fill up. When you get it filled up real good, then you just sit back and let it run for a few minutes and clean out all the light stuff. I'm just putting it in one right after the other. I want you to know that This is really a low budget outfit. I got the cooler, somebody threw it out. It's got a couple little leaks I have to tape up and stuff, but the bucket was in the garbage, like this jar I got out of the garbage. But I found that your bottles, you're better off to use a rectangular shaped bottle than a round one. You can get the action you need to get your material bubbling in there with a rectangular bottle as opposed to a round one. I've tried everything. I've tried shower heads to get the right action in a round bottle, and it doesn't work. I've probably tested 30 or 40 different types of bottles because I like to use the cheap plastic bottles that everybody throws out. It's a real nice concept. It makes it affordable for everybody. You don't have to drop hundreds of dollars to make yourself a fluid bed, and you got Grandpa's guarantee that that's going to catch the finest gold that's around. So you see how that's going there. Now we're going to let that clean out a little bit. And where are we at for time right now?
15:45.
15:45. I've got a couple other little sweet things I want to show you. That couple other little creations I made. And I'm going to show you those while I got you. You've all seen different types of crevice sucking material. These are a few that I've created, okay? Here's one made like a snuffer bottle, and this is a bulb off a battery tester, and this simply is going to draw material. You can see the water coming in. You can clean out crevices with that, and it will work like a snuffer bottle. I've got the tube shoved up in here, probably an inch and a half, and for that then all you have to do, once again, take your tube out and everything will clean out. So I got that one there. That cost me a couple bucks, but the concept is really unique. I glue it with electrical tape. Liquid electrical tape is what I use now for all my waterproof connections. Here's something a little bit unique. I got this from a veterinarian. This is a syringe, and once again, I've got the tube coming up this far, and this simply works quite the same way. It's going to draw material in. Your heavy stuff is going to drop down in here. You can pump it back out, and it will always hold a little bit to catch your material. But it's got a good suction. Okay, let me drain that one out. Now I've got one more I want to show you, and this one's a real cutie. And I don't drink any liquor of any kind, but their bottles are unique. Now I've got this syringe, once again, going into the bottle, okay? And I'm actually going to get on this side because it'll show up easier, because I got the label on the other side. So I've got this syringe goes into the bottle, then below it I've got this tube coming into the bottle, but they don't join. This is merely the suction device, okay? So we're going to go and we're going to suck, and Mindy can watch the bottle. You'll notice nothing's getting in here. I can pump back out. It's simply drawing material out of the crevice or the crack into the bottle until you get your bottle filled up. Then you go and you hold it over your pan. I think that's going to be one of the latest concepts and neatest ideas in gold prospecting. Using a cheap plastic bottle with that bottom clean out, I think it's brilliant. I'm sure a lot of guys are going to be at least trying this. But follow my recipes once again, guys. It works. I got one other thing I want to show you. As long as we're into doodads and gimmicks, okay? Anybody has a wife that does that needlepoint? Okay. I got this out of somebody's garbage. They moved out and they left that wooden rack. Okay, this is the wooden rack. That's my little thing I use just to hang it up in the treasure room. So there's the wooden frame. And what this is something I got out of the same garbage, mind you, same house, same garbage. This is a splatter screen off the top, I use it on top of a frying pan. That's a splatter screen. That is really fine mesh. And that is going to be the closest Grandpa ever comes to having a Saruka. This thing cost me maybe 25 cents for the screws. I drill the holes, turn the screws in to hold it together, and you put your material in there, get it all shook out, flop it over like you do a Saruka, and there you got it. Now, you're probably almost out of time, but I'm going to shut this down just so you can see what we've got in the bottom of this bottle with what I've that pops right out of that. Now there's not a lot in here, and I'm gonna just let me get you. I got something here that I can drop that in. Okay. I don't want the water to come flying out because I don't have a bowl, but turn that off. Let your water out a little bit. And there's your heavies that caught up in the bottom of the jar. I honestly don't know. I'm going to just see if there's any. I would have to pan that out. I'm not that worried about it. I was just using it as a demonstration. If there was any gold in it or not, what I put in there, I'm not worried. But you get to see the idea. That's how it caught. And if I would have given it more time, the majority of that would have boiled out. I put in a lot of scoops, and I only had a little bit more than a bottle cap. So, we'll just rinse that out, put that back on. I'll put that away a little later. Well, you got to see a few of my doodads, my odds and ends. Most important, you got to see how Grandpa created a fluid bed. Very simple procedure. Just remember, you're working with water volume, not pressure, and make sure you experiment. Do a lot of research and development. And I'm sure you won't have any trouble coming up with something. You can probably use an 800 gallon per hour tsunami and save yourself $10. But that's about it for this time, except for one other thing. How much time I got left? We're running, okay? We're running. I got somebody you guys got to meet. You remember Skeeter? Skeeter passed away on me last August. And this is going to be my new introduction to gold prospecting. This is Riffles. Yeah, like in the sluice box, this is Riffles. He is going to be one of the world-renowned gold sniffing dogs. I'm working with Riffles the same way the police and army works with their bomb-sniffing dogs. Principles are all the same. You just got to simplify it like Grandpa does. And instead of using recycled stuff, I'm using Riffles to get to gold. God bless you all. We'll be talking to you some more. Grandpa. Bye.
I love to prospect in the stream. It's always so much fun. The bubbling brooks, they call to me, come get our pretty gold. Gold for me, gold for Ma, gold for me, gold for Grandpa, ha 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 ha, gold for me, gold for Ma. my gold pen in my hand.